everybody, welcome back to my legendary Macedon video series, Let's Play. This is part 13, and I'm going to do a very quick campaign recap. I still hold the province of Thracia and the settlement of Sparta. I am currently trading with the Seleucids, and I'm currently at war with Rhodos and Cimmeria, and also what remains of Galatia. They have a single fleet left. I have conquered the Balkan landmass, or Balkan Peninsula, I'm not sure what the correct name is, and am contemplating going to war with Trapezos, which will bring me closer to Cimmeria, but also allow me to complete another settlement. My public order is in the crapper, and we're going to start seeing some consequences of that. And where we left off in the last video was at the beginning of my turn, so let's jump into the campaign. Okay, so here we are at the beginning of my turn, and I'm just going through the event log really quick to see what events have transpired. See that there is a rebel or slave uprising right there by Nicomedea. I lost the general to natural causes, and I had replaced him at the tail end of the last video. And see, there's a promotion in one of the other families. Pontus has finally been destroyed, and one of my generals has gained a trait, +1 gravitas per turn. And usually after I check the event log, I go to the forces panel there, and I see what movements I can make. I'm going to set my taxes down to medium, and I'm going to use this turn and the funds I'd gained from increased taxes to set Sparta up as an agriculture settlement with the 2 building slots that it has. See that there's a lot of work to do in the province of Thracia in terms of making a true military settlement. I'm going to continue bolstering that army by Anthea by recruiting Hoplites. And we saw there briefly at Nicomedea that the public order was -80 with +20 per turn. As long as the rebellion is in effect, it will grow each turn, but will also grant +20 public order. So if you want to get your public order up very high, then let the rebellion stay alive. But just keep in mind that it will grow in power. More units will be added to the rebel army each turn.
Ready for battle.
And we see there that the faction Trapezos has 2 settlements that I will need to take if I want to complete that province of Bithynia et Pontus.
Ready for orders. To victory.
I'm going to attack this rebel army, and as it only has a handful of units and I have a full stack, I'm going to do an auto-resolve. And release captives so as not to incur public order penalty from capturing slaves. And going down the zeal path on my general.
Salve. How can I help?
I'm going to begin some military training for that army at Ephesus. Most of the time I prefer to use the hero agent for military training, and the dignitary there I'm deploying to grant public order bonus at Ficinus. And we see here that Rhodos, one of the factions I'm at war with, has a small amount of troops at their single settlement there. They've got an army and a navy
I cannot say.
and a couple agents and of course a garrison. So for me to attack that settlement and uproot them and conquer them is going to be no small affair. And I'm looking here at how the factions closer to my starting provinces feel about me and how Athens is doing. We see that Athens has done a decent job of expanding and becoming a decent power on its own.
Call me Nick on the road again. What do you wish of me? Treading softly.
Commander.
Now, I know that I'm going to have a slave rebellion in Thracia, so I've moved some of my agents there to help combat that rebellion. And that was the video that just popped up for the rebellion. Here is what remains of the Galatian forces, a small navy, and I think they have an agent or two that will disappear as soon as that navy is killed. There's Athens. Currently at war with Deorti or Deorshi, however you say it. Cimmeria, the other faction I'm at war with, is sailing around in the ocean there. I think that's the Black Sea, but I'm not absolutely certain. Now here comes Rhodos to lay down a embargo on my provincial capital Ephesus, and here's that slave rebellion. It is attacking Polpadeva, it looks like. And I'm going to go ahead and auto-resolve because I have agents and an army nearby that if the settlement is captured, I can recapture it. And I didn't think that I stood great odds of beating that army if I fought the battle. And then as it turns out, they didn't capture the settlement. They sacked it and moved on. And likewise with this small rebellion that popped up here in what used to be Galatian lands, I decided to auto-resolve because I have an army nearby that will be able to capture this relatively quickly. So I'm going to take this army that just killed one slave rebellion and I'm going to move them over towards Ancyra. And there's that army that just sacked Polpadeva. Now, it's close to the edge of my movement range, so first I'm going to perform agent actions to limit its ability to move, which means that when I do attack it with that army, it should be held in place. It won't be able to retreat, hopefully.
How may I serve you? I will see it done.
Also, as that army is not a very strong, full force, agent actions
How can
I think are a little bit more likely to be successful, so it's a good experience earning opportunity for the agents that are there, although of course we saw that one was wounded.
At your command.
That happens sometimes, not the end of the world.
Your will is done.
And at rank 7, 2 skill points to spend due to my mod. Watch part 0 if you need a full explanation of everything my mod does. Should be in the beginning of the Let's Play playlist. And let's see, we see here that Rhodos has embargoed Ephesus.
Ready, willing, and able.
So I'm looking at the Forces tab to see what movement points I have left to spend. And in the event log, make sure I'm not missing anything before I start committing
For battle.
more armies and agents to movement. So it looks like the best thing to do here. Oh, it looks like I'm deciding where I want to move that army. Do I want to attack the rebels outright, or do I want to position that army in either Anthea or Rhodos and then rely on the army plus the garrison, but I decide that it would be best to just attack the rebels. They're fairly depleted. And I'm going to fight this battle manually, as we saw just a couple videos ago where I did an auto-resolve on an ambush battle. The AI lost the battle, but kept a fair amount of its forces, so then I had to fight the battle again, and I want to make sure that I destroy them on this single turn. So there they are. They have their cavalry out front, their melee infantry in the middle, and they're ranged at the end of their line. So I'm going to position my units where they can best counter their units, which means my pikemen at the front, my hoplites in the middle, and my cavalry positioned to charge and attack their missile units. So I create a locked formation group, give an attack order, and then individually tell my cavalry to target, select all the cavalry and turn on run, which means they'll charge. I give my pikemen a movement order past the enemy troops so that they walk forward and poke them with their pikes. And I'm giving focus fire targets to my 2 missile units, and of course turning off skirmishing mode so they don't run away. You see my cavalry has quickly routed their missile units, most of them. There's one left. My pikes have not quite made it there yet, and I'm constantly readjusting the focus fire target of my missile units. I don't want my missile units throwing their missiles into a combat where I have friendly troops because I don't want friendly fire. And that was a really quick battle. It was going to be pretty hard for me to lose and screw that one up unless I did something really boneheaded. So we see that their forces are mostly depleted down to nothing, so that should be the end of this slave army. And down they go. So again, after having my taxes on high and really neglecting my provinces, I kind of got bum rushed with some uprisings and rebellions. So this turn is all about undoing their small amounts of damage and destroying the rebel armies. And I have enough funds to recruit a few more units of hoplites. The hoplites are serving me very well so far in this campaign. I've managed to face off pretty evenly or at better odds with all of the AI armies so far, with just hoplites and a few cavalry units and a few ranged. That's going to change as I think this campaign is getting close to turns in the mid-40s or close to the 50s, and that's where, due to my mod, the AI starts to have more military buildings, and as I battle Rhodos and Cimmeria, I expect to see more armies that are closer to equal in strength with my own. So we'll see if that actually happens that way. The Dorsi have been destroyed, presumably by Athens. Good job, my little client state growing all on his own. It's nice to see. It's kind of interesting that he's doing quite well. And of course I'm also trading, and I have a non-aggression pact with the Seleucids down there, so my southern borders in the Balkans are safe. And I'm just kind of poking around the map here to get a feel for how the neighboring factions view me. I could attempt trade with some of the northern Celtic and Germanic tribes up here, but I'm foregoing that for now because I think I may later want to expand in that direction. I know that I could always trade with them now and then break those agreements, but opening up trade with them might piss off some of the quote-unquote more cultured factions in the game. So here it's time to capture back Ankara, and it's one turn to take the settlement by siege, or I can auto-resolve with pretty good odds, and I decide in this case I will auto-resolve. Again, the auto-resolve has been a little bit more harsh on my cavalry units, and I've gained a level of Imperium, which means I
Ready
can
for battle.
now recruit more armies and agents and issue more edicts within the provinces that I control. However, I still only fully control the province of Thracia. I'm 2 settlements
Ready for orders.
away from one province in the Balkans, and I'm 1 settlement away from another province in the Balkans. I don't know the province names. I think one is Bithynia et Pontus, and the other one might be Asia. So there we are at turn 44.
Speak, friend, and I will share your words with
And
the people of Carthage.
I'm starting to consider now, as I have a fair amount of territory, the possibility of opening up trade and non-aggression pacts with other factions.
I will do you the honor.
So there
of
we
listening
go,
to their
a trade
tales.
agreement with Libya.
I will accept this in my law.
Libya and Carthage, I
words
think,
will
are
find
typically
an
friendly with
attentive
each other,
ear
so
here
if I'm
in
going to trade with
Carthage.
Libya, I'm considering doing the same with Carthage.
I greet
See,
you in
Libya
my
has
master's.
rejected a non-aggression
You
pact.
show much wisdom in.
I don't want to trade with Egypt because the Seleucids don't like them,
The blessing
and
of
the
the Olympians
Seleucids are
upon
not
you.
interested in
What
a
then
military
do
alliance
your
with
noble
me.
people desire of us?
And there we have Armenia is unhappy with the Seleucids and also Trapezos. So it would be natural for me to declare war on
I am honored
Trapezos
to
and
receive this
Armenia.
embassy,
I want
and will
to
listen with interest
keep
to all
very
you
high
have to
positive
say.
relations with the Seleucids. See that Trapezos would really like to trade with me, and so would Delmate up there, but Athens might expand in that direction.
I am honored to greet such an ambassador of such worthy people. My ears
Here I'm seeing if I can
tingle
get Athens
with
to
anticipation.
join me in war against the factions I'm at war with.
A flapping tongue that speaks without wisdom.
So
The
Delmate
gods
might
will have me
trade
listen
with
to
me,
you,
but Athens might
do
conquer
not pass
them,
the
so
day in words with.
I'm keeping it as an option. Royal Scythia. They are moderately sized, so I'm seeing how they feel
Greetings, friend.
about
We will
relations.
speak together of whatever
And of course,
you wish,
Cimmeria hates
but
me.
bring words that can walk.
So out of all that, I have trade now with Libya, and we see that my income went up, I think, from roughly 1,800 to now 2,500 per turn. And I canceled those troop recruitments so that I could move the army, and then I'm just going to reinstate the recruitment, most likely.
Is that all?
I'm most likely gearing up to go to war with Trapezos, so I want to start moving my armies and agents in that direction. And Rhodos really has taken a liking to my city of Ephesus. So, pardon me, rather than try to take my armies and battle Rhodos on their own lands, why not take my army at Ephesus and move it out of the city? And maybe, just maybe, Rhodos will conquer that settlement, and then I can just take it back and then very easily move down to their undefended city on the island of Rhodes. So I'm going to take that army from Ephesus and I'm going to move it out of the city. And what I'm really hoping for here is that Rhodos will use their navy and take the settlement.
At your command.
And I've pretty much run out of things to do. We see that all of my provinces pretty much suck. They all have low wealth and bad public order. Here comes that Galatian navy to attack Rhodos, and auto-resolve is strongly in my favor, so I'll most likely do that and sink their fleet, and that will be the end of Galatia as a faction, I think, hopefully. And there is Cimmeria doing a little bit of navy action, going on some cruises. So we have a hero has ranked up, Galatia has been destroyed. I have some agent actions performed against me. I failed a mission, and there is an assassination attempt on one of my generals, but his wife has been killed instead, and one of those meaningless family political events has occurred. So that settlement at Nicomedia is just getting hammered by agents. Everything is broken. Let's go ahead and deal with this really quick. Sure, let's adopt the boy. He seems like a born leader. The family politics, the power meter is fairly even. So that navy there has not yet captured that city. I'm still hoping that they'll do it. And I'm thinking at this point that I have strong enough armies that I can take some of the funds I'm earning every turn and maybe start improving my settlements. And in preparation for Rhodos conquering or taking Ephesus, I'm moving some of my agents in that direction. What I'm really hoping for is that their main army will come and take that city. So far it's just a navy full of javelin men. And I do not want to take my army and fight that navy, because that will be a naval battle. Whereas I said earlier, you stand a good chance of losing full units at a time as your transport boats are sunk. It's really quite annoying. And I'm moving closer to Trapezos because I think I'm going to declare war on them. Here I have an embedded hero who leveled up, so I'm putting points into his zeal trait that grants EXP to my units every turn.
At your command, we hunger for battle.
And placing that army into a marching stance so it can get really close to the settlement of Sinope. And ending my turn. Now this video is getting close to the end. So I think after these AI turns are finished and I look at what pops up at the beginning of my turn, that will be the end of the video. And in the upcoming video, I think we're going to see war with Trapezos, and soon after that, some fighting against Cimmeria, and also Rhodos. And that should all prove to be a little bit more interesting than some of the battles that have occurred so far. And yep, I will see you in the next video.